He's handsome, but poor and stressed, choosing to live in the village to enjoy his life. Unbeknownst to him, the evil spirits around him disappear in a second, effortlessly, through his daily shopping list. It's truly a pity for these evil spirits, who possess such powerful powers. The story begins when he was a child. Minato Kusunoki had no idea he possessed the ability to see the terrifying ghosts lurking in the shadows, something no one else could see. Often went to his grandfather's house to help him with various household chores. After he finished, his grandfather would give him 2 bags of chocolate. A little girl emerged out of nowhere at that moment. In reality, she wasn't a human, she was a ghost. She hurried over to them, snatched the candy from Minato, and disappeared. Minato was startled and frightened, but his grandfather reassured him, saying that he now had the ability to see spirits, but only the good ones. Zashiki, the house spirit who had been there longer than he had, he told Minato to be kind to her and not to get angry if she took his snacks. Minato will eventually benefit from his new ability to see things that others cannot. We return to the present. A few years later, now, a simple-hearted young man, Minato is moving his belongings to his grandfather's village. He had decided to leave his stressful old life behind and start anew in a peaceful setting. A young man named Haruma Saiga, whom he had never seen before, watched him as he walked toward the house, carrying a piece of paper with the address and a map. Upon arriving at his grandfather's house, Minato sensed a strange atmosphere that felt like a thick black fog. However, that aura vanished the moment he opened the door, and the piece of paper with the address on it slipped from his hand and landed somewhere deep in the forest. Minato headed straight to the park after packing his things. He thought the park was spacious and beautiful, but it needed a lot of maintenance. When his mother calls to see how he's doing, she says she's certain he can live there by himself. The house has been vacant for 2 years, so she asks him to take care of it. When Minato asks why no one has purchased such a lovely property, his mother says that a number of individuals have visited, but have all declined without giving a specific explanation. He doesn't think about it, and Minato goes to the garden after cleaning the home. He discovers a bunch of flowers at the gate. He senses something amid the trees, but he is perplexed because he didn't purchase any flowers and doesn't know who left them. A worker then came to help him clear the garden. The worker suggested planting something afterward, as the garden looked barren, but Minato wasn't interested, as he only intended to stay a short time. Suddenly, the worker felt a pain in his shoulder, with a thick black aura surrounding his shoulder. However, a piece of Minato's shopping list was lifted by a gust of wind and hit him in the shoulder. Both the pain and the writing on the page disappeared. Minato was shocked when the words vanished. At the garden gate, he then saw a basket of vegetables. The worker claimed ignorance when Minato asked about it. The next morning, berries were placed in front of the garden. He realized that a spirit must have brought them the same pattern he had seen at his grandfather's house as a child. He chose to give the spirit a gift instead, wanting to express his gratitude. He bought some food and drinks at the market and placed them outside the garden gate. Suddenly, a large wolf appeared. It was the mountain god. The mountain god greeted and conversed with Minato. Minato didn't understand that a talking animal was standing in front of him and was very surprised. The mountain god explained that it was indeed he who brought the small gifts and that he came from a nearby mountain. As a token of gratitude, Minato asked him to join him for dinner. The mountain god agreed and ate the beef, which he found delicious but a little greasy. The mountain god declined Minato's offer of a drink, stating that plain water would suffice since he had not yet fully recovered his strength. The mountain god found the water Minato offered to be very tasty, comparable to the spring water from his mountain. The mountain god then expressed his gratitude to Minato, stating that he had truly been saved by him. The mountain god was weak at the time, and corruption had spread through the area due to evil. He claimed that because Minato's handwriting possessed unique powers, it was truly satisfying to watch the evil vanquished in a second. They disappeared because Minato's handwriting had the power to exorcise evil spirits. Just then, a man entered and took some of his forgotten belongings. The mountain god told him that only Minato could see him. Minato then questioned the power of his handwriting. He explained that, aside from one incident when he was younger, no one had ever truly praised his handwriting. He once made a signboard for a hot spring inn his family once ran. His handwriting handwriting was worse then than it is now, but one day, an unknown customer gave him high marks and suggested he keep it and perhaps make another one to display at home. The client was willing to pay a fantastic price to have the signboard made for him as well. After that, he began making signboards as a daily hobby. For this house, he even made several. Then the mountain god requested that he immediately hang them all over the house. When that happened, the house was surrounded by a protective barrier. Now the place was inaccessible to evil spirits. The mountain god told him that his power was unique and would become even more powerful if he recognized and developed it. After a few days, it became clear that the mountain god had begun to take a liking to Minato as he continued to visit and eat with him. The mountain god beamed when Minato thanked him, seemingly filled with admiration and respect. One day, Saiga performed a ritual to defeat evil spirits, but unfortunately, one escaped through the window. Saiga chased after it, but when the evil spirit attacked Minato, it easily disappeared without Minato having to exert any effort. This was due to the writing on Minato's shopping list, which was his primary power. However, Minato was unaware of his power, but was upset that the writing on his shopping list had disappeared. Meanwhile, Saiga was shocked by what had just happened. Afterward, he told Minato where to find the items he needed and helped him with his shopping. Minato returned home and was surprised to find the garden immaculate and filled with lush trees and vegetation. It turned out that the mountain god had been caring for the garden before Minato returned home. The mountain god assured him that it was nothing. After all, he was the ruler of the mountain. Minato was surprised because he didn't know the mountain god was capable of such a thing. He then asked why the mountain god looked smaller. "It's no big deal," the mountain god said, explaining that he had shrunk because he was using his power. He would grow back soon. A few days later, Minato was walking around and wondering why the mountain god hadn't visited him lately. He found a small animal when he got home and thought it was the mountain god, but it wasn't. Shortly after, the mountain god's voice reassured him that there was nothing to worry about, while he began to wonder if something might have happened. When Minato saw his form, the mountain god had indeed shrunk. How much power did it take for him to shrink like that? He asked. Just then, the mountain god's children appeared. Minato was surprised because he had thought the mountain god was too old to have children. One of the small creatures told Minato to at least address the mountain god as respected master. The mountain god then revealed that they were actually his followers, weasel-like creatures he had created by dividing his own power. Minato understood why the mountain god had shrunk so much. Siri, Torika, and Otsugi were the names of the mountain god's children. Minato offered them food and introduced himself. They began eating happily, delighted by the delicious smell. Then they fell asleep. Afterward, Minato discovered that the mountain god had returned to his original, enormous size. The mountain god informed him that a guest had arrived. Standing outside the door, Saiga sensed something strange and wondered if this might be sacred territory. When Minato opened the door, he immediately invited Saiga inside. Saiga introduced himself and handed him a card bearing the name of a traditional exorcist. Saiga said he worked for a government agency. Surprised, Minato asked if this was a joke. In response, Minato introduced himself, and Saiga asked if he was the one who had exorcised the demon a few days earlier, which surprised Minato. According to Saiga, there weren't enough exorcists to handle the growing number of evil spirits. It was rare to find someone capable of exorcising a high-level evil spirit. He then asked if Minato would be willing to sell his talisman. Confused as to what talisman meant, the mountain god then appeared and told Minato that Saiga needed a piece of paper with his handwriting. Saiga was confused because it seemed like Minato was talking to himself. The mountain god explained that Saiga couldn't see him, only Minato could. Minato then told Saiga that the notebook he used was just a simple grocery list. Hearing this, Saiga was amazed that a grocery list could exorcise a high-level evil spirit that even 3 onmyoji couldn't subdue. After agreeing to write anything for him, Minato began randomly listing various desserts. Meanwhile, Saiga noticed the light emanating from the writing on the paper. He was amazed at the immense power of such a simple and ordinary person's writing. Minato was utterly exhausted after he finished writing, and according to the mountain god, it was because he had exhausted all his strength and needed to rest. Saiga offered Minato a large sum of money in exchange for the talisman. Minato initially refused, but eventually agreed after Saiga insisted that it was a worthy reward. Even the money Saiga had on hand likely wouldn't even be worth the price of the talisman, so Saiga would owe him a debt first and then repay repay him with a larger sum. Feeling somewhat regretful, Minato borrowed his hand for a moment and then drew the pentagram. Clearly, Saiga was deeply indebted to him. Saiga then receives a sudden phone call, as his team is in urgent need of an exorcism mission. Elsewhere, Saiga rushes there and attempts to use the pentagram he has drawn on his hand to defeat the high-level evil spirit. Unaware of the dangers out there, Minato lives a carefree life in the village with the mountain god and his children, and the evil spirit is terrified of Minato. After a few days, when the mountain god's visits start to become a regular part of Minato's life, the handsome but poor man figures out how much he would spend on all the gifts. After figuring out the expenses, Minato comes to the conclusion that an unemployed adolescent like him cannot make up for the other unemployed slobs who are brazenly indulging in top-notch treats in this garden. Minato attempted to feed them some inexpensive food, but the mountain god's snobbish little familiars would obviously become agitated, so he was forced to give them the expensive food. Nevertheless, it meant that Minato would soon run out of money to cover his expenses. The mountain god observes a little rock subtly emerging in Minato's garden as Minato frets about his future. He attempts to seek for a part-time work, but he quickly realizes that it won't be sufficient to cover the deep pits of his family. He then decides to try his luck after noticing a lottery going on nearby. Minato manages to win the 100,000 yen grand prize, which provides him with at least 3 days' worth of cash. He chooses to get some beers to celebrate with the mountain god, content to put off finding a job. But Minato unexpectedly becomes their 333rd customer as he walks into the store. The store owners give Minato a set of their best drinks as a reward since, for some reason, they celebrate this odd number. When he essentially ends up winning every jackpot in the shopping center afterward, Minato starts to believe that something unusual occurred to his luck. Initially, he questions whether his consecutive lucky streaks are merely a coincidence. He then asks the mountain god if he used his abilities to rig the lottery when he returns home as a billionaire. The mountain god shakes his head and identifies the culprit as an odd turtle in Minato's pond. He says that this rocky turtle, known as Reiki, is one of the 4 sacred animals that are said to bring good fortune. It seems that Minato had assisted Reiki at one point, and the young turtle chose to return the favor. The mountain god says that he indirectly assisted Reiki in escaping an evil spirit by destroying it close to the shopping center, even though Minato does not remember protecting any endangered turtles. Minato is dubious of the turtle's abilities in spite of this explanation. But his mother calls him out of the blue to let him know that he has won a 1 million yen lottery that he had previously participated. At last, Minato acknowledges Reiki as genuine and expresses gratitude for its assistance. Minato questions if he should let Reiki remain in the pond when the mountain god observes that it wants to dwell there. Then the mountain god tells him that, since he is the actual owner, he has the final say. Minato readily welcomes the tiny turtle into his garden since it could enable him to live out the rest of his days without having to do any labor. Then, in appreciation for Reiki's earlier assistance, he offers him a few beers. The slow turtle immediately transmits in front of a bowl to receive its reward after learning about a free drink. A luminous orb materializes in front of Reiki as Minato smiles and urges him to consume as much as he likes. The orb's radiance fades as it hits the earth, exposing the cluster of seeds within. The mountain god tells Minato that the seeds are a gift from Reiki when he asks where they come from. The mountain god then cautions Minato that the seeds will grow into a very enormous plant as he prepares to sow them. Before sowing the seedlings, Minato asks the mountain god for a good location so that his garden won't be ruined. Minato questions which plant the seeds will truly grow into as he plants them, but the mountain god keeps it a secret. A few days later, Minato goes to the garden with some cookies for the mountain god and others. 2 small ghosts suddenly appear from the roof. Minato recognizes them as the renowned wind and lightning spirits from Japanese mythology when the mountain god addresses them as Fujin and Reijin. The 2 spirits appear adorable in real life, while being portrayed in the legends as being extremely menacing. Minato offers the spirits some cookies after discovering their true identities, and they gladly accept. After that, they both start making fun of the mountain god for almost dying. but the elderly fox assures them that he would never pass away so quickly. The mountain god's family members become enraged over the spirits stealing their cookies in the meantime. The twin gods explain that they came over to have a look at Minato's well-known garden because they were just interested. When they saw Reiki sipping from its bowl, Minato offers to let them to do the same. After they have finished their drinks, Fujin gives Minato his wind power as a gift. The mountain god advises Minato to see himself using the wind since he is shocked and unsure of how to handle the power. Minato gives these directions while extending his hands and focusing intently. A little wind soon begins to blow in the same direction. Minato is happy to enjoy the power of his new power, but the mountain god says he can teach it to have even more power. In another location, Harima Saiga battles further evil spirits in a dimly lighted facility. He discovers that Minato's pentagram has gradually vanished as he destroys one more. Two of Harima Saiga's colleagues nearby cry in fear as he feels sorry for his overpowered pentagram, which is about to vanish. When he turns back, a large evil spirit has cornered a man named Ichijo. Horikawa Shiori, Ichijo's partner, is standing close by, but she feels helpless to stop the evil spirit. Ichijo yells for her to assist him, but the evil spirit is about to attack when it's too late. Just in time, Harima Saiga shows up and uses a shopping list to eliminate the evil spirit. Ichijo becomes irritated when he sees the shopping list in Harima Saiga's hands, while Harima Saiga checks on Horikawa. He then approaches Horikawa and inquires as to whether she is aware of the origin of Harima Saiga's overpowered shopping list. When Horikawa acknowledges that she is unsure, Ichijo becomes enraged, and she is perplexed as to why he is upset. He becomes even more enraged when she asks why he despises Harima Saiga so much. Even yet, Horikawa manages to break free and departs, leaving Ichijo by himself with his damaged ego. A few days later, Minato sees that the seeds he sowed are now growing into a tiny sapling. The mountain god informs Minato that this plant would be known as the house's sacred tree, Kusunoki, after his own name. After giving the sapling some water, Minato gets the mountain god some more sweets. Minato takes some trekking equipment out of his suitcase while the white fox feeds. Minato answers that he wants to go trekking on his mountain when the mountain god asks where he's headed. Startled, the mountain god cautions him that going on his mountain is difficult, but Minato is comfortable using his hiking equipment. At last, the mountain god lets him climb his mountain as long as he stays below his shrine. Minato hikes at Mount Hojo with the mountain god's family after finishing his preparations. Minato begins to struggle with the difficult terrain along the path, but the three spirits support him. When Minato eventually reaches a clearing after a difficult journey, he sees the mountain god's dilapidated ancient shrine. Minato is reassured by the three spirits that nothing needs to be cleaned up. To honor his friend, Minato nevertheless wishes to fix it. The spirits assist him in moving the supplies and repairing the damaged shrine after realizing his sincerity. They eventually finish cleaning the shrine and take a seat to eat. All of a sudden, from the nearby forest, everyone hears some eerie roars. The spirits rise to investigate without a reason, and Minato follows them. He sees that a thick black mist has accumulated around a nearby waterfall as he catches up with them. One of the spirits hides in Minato's arms as a terrible evil spirit emerges from the black mist and attacks. One of them then asks Minato whether he can see the other creature that the evil spirit has absorbed. Minato clarifies that although he is only able to perceive good spirits, this specific bad spirit is so strong that even he can only vaguely see it. Minato chooses to confront the evil spirit with one of his shopping list because the spirits are too afraid to approach it. He pulls many of his shopping list from his bag, tosses them into the air, and blows them in the direction of the evil spirit like a machine gun using his wind magic. This time, the evil spirit gets struck by one of the shopping list, instantly wiping it out. A bizarre ball emerges from its body once the evil spirit vanishes, revealing a strange creature within. The creature immediately becomes alert and flees as Minato attempts to see if it is all right. Minato is pleased that the creature is doing well, despite his mild disappointment. When he gets home a short while later, the mountain god expresses gratitude to him for cleaning his shrine. When Minato inquires about the thing he's seen, the mountain god once more withholds the information from him. He discovers that the Kusunoki tree has ceased growing. The mountain god's family clarify that the tree's development pattern differs from that of typical trees since it is a sacred plant. Minato goes outside to investigate when Reiki warns him about the door knocked while they are talking about the tree. He discovers a tiny blue dragon floating in midair outside. Minato reciprocates awaits the dragon's bow of greeting. Then Minato asks the mountain god about it and invites the dragon inside. According to the mountain god, the dragon is one of the 4 fortune monsters and is known as Oryu. When Oryu spots the Kusunoki tree, it leaves and calls forth an odd force. Despite the magic barrier surrounding it, black clouds soon begin to form over the garden. However, the Kusunoki tree grows to enormous proportions in a matter of seconds as the clouds begin to pour. Oryu requests Minato for permission to reside in his pond after stopping the rain once the tree has grown. Minato consents to keep it, but only if Reiki gives his approval, and Reiki doesn't mind. According to the mountain god, Oryu has a strong affection for Minato because Harima Saiga freed it from an evil entity with his pentagram. Oryu discovered the source of his magic ability and went to Minato's house to express gratitude. Afterward, Harima Saiga visited Minato's house again, hoping for another batch of overpowered shopping list. Harima Saiga gives him a delectable dessert as a token of appreciation after Minato pulls out a new batch of shopping list for him. The mountain god's mouth begins to water as he sees the delicious food, but Minato keeps his attention on Harima Saiga. Harima Saiga commends the exorcist for the pentagram's extraordinary potency when Minato inquires about its effectiveness. Harima Saiga then requests that Minato draw a different symbol on his palm. Minato questions whether Harima Saiga simply dislikes pentagrams, but he clarifies that the pentagram represents the family crest of a different family. As he works, Minato nods and sketches a new shape on Harima Saiga's hand. One of Harima Saiga's reliable co-workers cautions him not to reveal Minato's identity because any bad person could take advantage of his ability to ward off spirits. Although he acknowledges that Ichijo is already aware of Minato, he expresses hope that he won't harm him. At the meantime, Minato runs into Ichijo at the market, who gives him a sneer before turning to leave. Perplexed, Minato continues to move, but he doesn't see the tiny talisman that Ichijo surreptitiously placed on his back. As usual, Minato was writing his shopping list with his new pen, accompanied by the mountain god. However, Ichijo's talisman was watching them, and the mountain god noticed it. Flashback to when Harima Saiga visited Minato's house again to ask about his concerns. Had Minato encountered anyone rude in recent times? Minato replied that he hadn't. Harima Saiga explained that a co-worker of his had become hostile towards him due to Harima's rapid rise as an exorcist. Harima was worried that the co-worker would target Minato after seeing the power of the shopping list Harima had been using. Ichijo had always sent talismans to monitor Harima's movements, and Harima had always been able to destroy them, but he wanted Minato to be more careful. With that in mind, the mountain god immediately destroyed Ichijo's talisman to prevent Minato from experiencing anything unnecessary. The mountain god's pride as a protector would not be outweighed by Ichijo's cheap talisman. Several hours later, Ichijo, having already located Minato's house, immediately went there to meet him to purchase an exclusive talisman more powerful than Harima's. He arrived, accompanied by Horikawa. However, Ichijo, with his violent disposition, pounded on Minato's door very loudly, even speaking rudely. When Ichijo was about to kick it down, he was suddenly transported to another dimension, resembling the dark side of a shrine built by the mountain god. Ichijo tried to escape, but his efforts were in vain, and he was temporarily trapped there indefinitely. Back to a few hours earlier, Minato was still making a shopping list with a sweet menu for the mountain god and the others. The mountain god saw a sweet menu he wanted to try in a magazine there, and Minato immediately went with him to the food store. Coincidentally, Minato had also been to that particular food store. Throughout the shopping center, those with pure hearts could sense the mountain god's presence and aroma. Naturally, this made Minato even more in awe and respect for the mountain god. Minato also ordered a drinking bowl and pillow for the mountain god to make him more comfortable, enjoying his time at Minato's house. After that, they went to a sweet shop and bought some. The owner of the sweet shop asked, "Have you ever met a mountain dog? I thought, because you live near the mountain, you might have seen one." He was once saved by a white mountain dog when he got lost in the forest. There was a sacred temple in the middle of the forest, and the white mountain dog led him to the highway, although his method was a bit rough. As a token of gratitude, the owner always gave him manju cakes. After they left the sweet shop, Minato was grateful because the owner's body was healthy again, unlike the last time he saw him, whose face was pale and tired. It turned out that the mountain god had cured the owner's illness, so he could continue selling sweets. His sweet menu was very popular with the mountain god, especially his smooth red bean manju cake. When they returned home, Minato excused himself to take a quick bath, and the mountain god immediately ate his sweet cake with his new drinking bowl. It was at this moment that Ichijo and Horikawa arrived, and the mountain god immediately transported Ichijo to his artificial dimension. Ichijo experienced an infinite sense of suspended animation, and the death that befell him caused him immense stress and depression. Finally, Ichijo wept and apologized in front of the mountain god's shrine. He had been impudent and regretted his actions, pleading deeply for his return to the real world. When Ichijo returned to the real world, the events in the artificial world had apparently been going on for days, and time in the real world had stopped. Horikawa, confused by Ichijo's strange behavior, frightened Ichijo even more, and he ran away. The next day, Minato, the mountain god, and the spirits bathed together in a hot spring that had been created overnight. The mountain god, Reiki, and Oryu worked together to fulfill Minato's longing for the hot springs of his hometown. Minato was very happy and grateful to them. After that, a friend of Oryu and Reiki's came to visit. It turned out to be the spirit Minato had saved in the forest, and Minato invited him in. The spirit was named Kirin, and he was very grateful for Minato's rescue. Kirin began a sermon as his first greeting to Minato, which lasted for an hour, leaving everyone exhausted. Kirin then asked Minato to become the ruler of the world, but Minato refused. Fujin and Reijin arrived and explained to Kirin that Minato had no such ambitions. He simply wanted to enjoy life despite his immense power. Minato thanked Fujin and Reijin for helping explain this to Kirin. While they bathed in the hot spring, Fujin and Reijin expressed their gratitude to Minato. Thanks to Minato, their existences were restored to normal, and their bodies also grew in size. Fujin gave them a souvenir of fish, which they promptly cut into pieces using his wind power. Seeing this, Minato continued to hone his wind powers while Fujin watched. Fujin stated that although Minato had mastered his wind powers, he felt he was still holding back. Therefore, he advised Minato to unleash his full wind power. Once he understood his maximum, Minato would automatically be able to control his powers more freely. Shortly afterward, Minato's mother informed him that the signboard at her house had been damaged, so Minato needed to make another one. Minato wondered who would damage so many signs at his mother's inn. Shortly afterward, Minato remembered that the inn was inhabited by the spirit Zashi, and perhaps he had damaged the signboard because it had expired. So, Minato needed to make a new signboard, and the sacred protective power of his house would be reactivated. The mountain god advised Minato to hone his wind powers, so that they could integrate with Minato's power to create a much more powerful protective signboard. The mountain god immediately took Minato to the artificial realm of the gods through the back door of his house. In the realm of the gods, Minato could train to his heart's content without worrying about anything. Even the trees there were fake. Meanwhile, Kirin brought a durian to Minato's house as a thank you, but it turned out to be rotten. Oryu and Reiki immediately threw it away and warned Kirin to bring something suitable for Minato. Kirin took the rotten durian home. Minato began concentrating on honing his wind powers. Despite briefly fainting, Minato continued training to further strengthen the sacred protection of his mother's inn.
Nanda, ここは